Alright, everybody, welcome out to the first episode of Those Nerds You Know. I am your host, Ethan LeBlanc, and this is your other host.
David McQueen.
Woo! Alright, first things first. This is a show about any nerdy thing we feel like talking about.
So, strap in.
Strap in, yeah. Goodness gracious.
Oh, gosh.
Recently, we have both seen the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So we figure it might be good to talk about that.
Yeah. I was not as big a fan of the first one as everybody else was, but I was pretty
Agreed.
excited for the second one. But we both kind of came to the first one after all the hype and stuff, and we kind of saw the second one pretty early on. So we were... This was interesting for us.
Yeah, like when I'd walked into the first one, everyone was just like, "This is the best Marvel movie ever," and I was like, "I don't see how that's possible," and I still disagree with that statement. So when I went in and watched it, I just wasn't super. Hey, look, premiere's opening. So, gosh, 5 hours later. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I wasn't a huge fan of the first film the first time I saw it. Seeing it for the second time after I'd been given it some space, I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. I enjoy the series. It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
It definitely is a lot of fun. Like,
Yes.
that's the big thing I can say about the series in general. Like, as like any gripes I have are put aside by the fact that the series, both the first and the second, especially the second though, are just really fun. Like, they're just like a really fun ride the whole time.
Yeah. And so I saw the second one like first day I could.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think one of the things I love about the film is just that I personally have a big problem with trailers. I love trailers, but I hate having movies spoiled to me through trailers. That's why typically I will watch a trailer. I will watch the first full-length trailer that comes out for a movie that I anticipate seeing, that I want to see, and I won't watch any more trailers. Especially if it's a movie that I know I'm going to see first off, and that I want to be great, because I like that experience of first seeing a movie and not having anything spoiled, and just being able to enjoy the whole thing that one time, fresh, new, not knowing what's going to happen. And I feel like Guardians 2 did that really well by not giving away any real key significant things in the trailers.
Yeah, no, I could see that too. I'm not as picky when it comes to the trailers. Like, I don't mind seeing a few things. I'm definitely with you on that. I don't like seeing the whole thing. Like, I don't like seeing the plot points. I'm not a big fan of this latest Spider-Man Homecoming trailer. It's the worst thing. It's like, oh, the whole movie sped up really quickly, and we got all the filler in it. Like, that's just no. But yeah, Guardians definitely did a better job with it. I feel like that can be said with a lot of really, really well done movies. I feel like, or I like when movies tend to do the thing where some of the stuff they do in trailers is not actually in the movie, or like things they cut out, or things they change, or things they ad-libbed, or whatever the case may be. So that's really neat, because you get to enjoy a trailer while also not spoiling the movie, and also enjoying the movie when you come into it fresh.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But then I liked 2 a lot because as much as I liked how like funny the movie was, and how funny like the series is in general, I kind of liked how serious this one went a little bit. Like, I liked that some of the weight that was put in the movie a little bit. I felt like it really, really, really pushed the characters to grow, and not just like they were still clowns, they were still idiots and stuff like that. But it was really neat to see them like struggle, like, and have like things that they were really like hurting about, or things that they weren't feeling as good about, basically.
Yeah, I liked. There's a lot of heart in this film.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of moments where people have to make, or have to deal with something serious, which I think is good. I think it's a good play, because all the characters are usually pretty ridiculous, or everybody's got jokes at some point, but everyone also has to deal with real stuff, and I think that's neat for me, because I think that's how a lot of people can deal with things is through humor, or through laughing stuff off, or just it's cool to me because everybody has to deal with something difficult in their life at some point, and I feel like that's what this film is for a lot of the characters in it. Except maybe Groot.
Yeah, right. I mean, he doesn't really express much in the way of.
No.
Oh, you get a little bit. He does a lot of body language.
Right. We learned that he doesn't like hats.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He has some trouble with some bullies in the movie. That's kind of interesting.
That is quite true.
Yeah. Okay. So he does have some issues. Yeah. We get sad Groot for a little bit. He's too cute. I was like, okay, so this is the thing. Like, I am not a big fan of Baby Groot, or I wasn't when I came in. Because that's one of those things that's just like, everybody loved Baby Groot at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was just like, it's fine. Like, it's novel. It's kind of neat. It's whatever. But then when I was seeing in the trailers, they were like, and Baby Groot. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Please. He was so beast as a full-grown Groot.
Right.
And why can't he regenerate? Like, that's the thing. Anyway. But no, I really did enjoy him by the end of the movie. I really, like, cared for this character, and I feel like part of it has to go with the fact that he was really cute, like, because he doesn't really show a whole lot going on, but he's really neat.
I'm gonna be real honest, I don't find him cute.
Oh no.
I don't. I think he's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
But I don't know. He's not my style of cute.
He's a plant creature.
He's a plant. I don't
like,
find plants cute. I really don't.
It.
I agree with you that he was really cool when he was fully grown, and I liked that Groot.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly annoyed that I don't have that Groot.
It's also like Vin Diesel played him, and then it's like in this Vin Diesel still plays it, but it's like it doesn't sound like Vin Diesel. Of course it can't.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really liked his full grown version. I liked how cool he was, right? How beast he is, and just like he was Rocket's muscle, and he was he was super cool.
He did kind of step down a little bit of a secondary character. I don't know if we're talking about. We don't want to talk about spoilers or anything like that, but just
I don't care. We can spoil whatever.
Okay, but but nothing specifically. But he does kind of like you mentioned. I didn't think about it before, but yeah, in the first movie he was like Rocket's muscle, but in this one it's like Rocket kind of has to like it's kind of like raising him a little bit, and it's a little the not the dichotomy is shift necessarily because like Groot was always kind of reporting to Rocket and not the other way around, but it does feel like Rocket is like I guess pulling more weight than before without his muscle. Like Groot is just there, but for like more like emotional support than anything. Mm-hmm. He's not really actually helping the team too much.
Yeah. Though it does feel like it's more than once in this movie, and I think also in the first movie they mentioned how Yondu kept. Oh gosh, was it Peter Quill?
Yes.
Kept Peter Quill around because he was small and could fit into places.
Yeah.
Big people couldn't, and was good for stealing. And we definitely see that, I think, a lot with Groot in this film. Like
definitely.
That sort of becomes his thing.
Yeah. That was something that was interesting because I thought I don't remember him saying that in the first movie, but they say it like almost like a half a dozen times in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like they keep repeating that thing about I kept you because this reason. I'm just like, okay, we get it. He was small as a little child.
Yeah.
Thief thing, and now Groot is kind of like that. And then you get Dancing Groot, which is fine. It's fine. Like, but no. Besides Groot though, like one of the things also I think really went well with this movie, and I feel like really went well with the first movie as well, was the interactions with the characters themselves. I feel like this cast and their characters, I feel like they really have really good chemistry on camera, on set and things like that. They seem to they bounce ideas off really well, and the performance is really well done. But I think for me, the second this one, it felt a little bit more believable, as opposed like in the first one I felt like they came together as like a friendship of convenience. But like a lot of people have talked about how like they came together and then eventually they kind of loved each other and stuff like that. But it's just like you do kind of see that arc in the first movie, but like by this movie it like genuinely feels that way. Like it genuinely feels like these guys have been living together for a while. Right. These guys have been running together for a while. These guys know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they pick at each other and stuff like that, but they still love each other. It's really neat.
No, I definitely see that. I understand that. Do you have any problems with the film?
Problems with the film?
Anything? Or with the movie, with the story?
So, I don't know, man. No, I don't know, because I don't really think I cared that much about the I don't want to say the villain, because it was the villain. The main villain was fine, but I felt like that first villain that kind of kept pestering them. The Sovereign. That was like I felt like that was a little like that. I thought they were funny for a first act type thing, but it's like once they moved on, I didn't quite get why this was. They were like, I don't know. They kept sticking around, and to me it just started losing its funny basically. Also, I felt the same way about the way Drax treated Mantis. And that's another thing. I think a lot of people like Mantis a lot, and I think Mantis was good. I think she did all right. But Drax, like he keeps like just trash talking this poor girl, and like she's just kind of like, oh yeah, this is new. I'm learning things, and I'm just like, okay. And it was like funny the first 2 times maybe, and then after that I was just like, okay, lay off her a little bit. How about she's new? Like why don't you be a little more considerate? I know this is Drax we're talking about, so I guess it's fit. But I don't know. It just felt like. It felt like I guess my big problems with the movie I feel like would be just the recycling of jokes in general. Like I felt like the movie tended to just like they'd set up a joke, it would do really well at the beginning, and then by the third act they were trying to do those same jokes again, but it had changed a little bit, and to me it was still like the same joke, and I was like, I mean it's still kind of funny.
I think specifically on the Drax thing, I think I didn't tire of it really of Drax's thing with Mantis. I think the thing that makes that so different than his interactions with other people in the movie is not Drax, it's Mantis. It's the fact that Mantis is naive and innocent.
Okay.
And doesn't really like all the other members of this team are sarcastic and
snarky
and other members of the movie in general. And all of them also have this understanding that Drax is from this race is very literal and frank. And they understand that.
Yeah.
And so, like, they don't really care too much about what he says.
Yeah, they don't put a lot of weight in what he says.
Because there's another moment. I mean, there's a moment where Drax talks down to Peter.
Yeah.
Not trying to hurt his feelings.
I'm remembering Peter Quill so bad.
I don't know why I can't remember Peter. But, like, he talks down to him about, finding a girl that's as pathetic as him and then yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But
also,
Peter takes that really well because he understands this nonsense, and that's just funny.
Yeah, that they hug in the trailer, and they don't do it in this movie.
Yeah,
but I heard it's a deleted scene, or maybe they changed it. I don't know.
Probably. I heard people talking about it in the trailer, but it's not in the movie.
But that was neat. I thought that was really cool because I was kind of expecting that, but also I didn't like the hug as much in the trailer. I felt like the joke. Oh. I like the path they took with it.
Worked out for you.
I thought, I
think that's good too.
Well,
I think that's a good idea to do. Is when you have a joke that's played so many times in the trailer, by the time you see it in the movie,
see that's the thing. Like, I don't think think the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, that's really funny. But then trailers. You tend to I've memorized most of the trailers of superhero movies and other things coming out, and I'm just like, So, did you have a problem with the movie?
Yeah. So it's nitpicky because the movie's great. I'm fine with it. But there's a flaw that I think in Yondu's character. Is Yondu, right?
Yeah, the blue guy with the arrow. Yeah.
I always, every time I say his name, I always assume that I said it wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a moment. So we're led to believe that Yondu, Ravager or whatever they're called.
Yeah, they're like thieves or whatever.
Generally bad dude.
Yeah, sure.
He's the one who picks up Quill, and when he picks him up, at this point in time, we learn later that he's picked up several kids before, and he's been doing it for Ego.
Yeah.
And he's been bringing them to Ego, and he's now learned once he has Quill, he figures out sometime between the time that he picked up Quill and before he was going to deliver Quill to Ego, he figures out that Ego has been some way or another killing all of the children,
murdering all these children
that he's been bringing to him. Yeah, so he decides to keep Peter Quill.
Yes.
And makes up the lie or whatever thing. It probably wasn't a full lie, but makes up the story that they kept him because he was small. It was good for getting into things. It could get into tight places they couldn't.
Yeah, they say that a few times in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And the issue I have is that Yondu, who claims to love Peter Quill. And
sure.
who we know does love Peter Quill, especially based off of the end of this movie.
Yeah. His sacrifice and all that.
Yeah. Never at any point tells Peter Quill his lineage. Never informs Quill of the danger of his father. Not even close. Never hints at it.
Yeah.
And when he learns from Rocket that Ego has him, he still goes with the lie or the story that they kept Peter Quill because he was small and could fit into places and was good for thieving. He doesn't come clean. He doesn't tell Rocket anything about Ego. Like when we get to when Rocket and Yondu complete their escape with whoever Yondu's mate is, and they put in coordinates for where they're going, Yondu's like, "Where are we going?" And Rocket's like, "We're going to Ego's place." Because I could tell by the way you talked about him, quote unquote, that he's a bad dude.
Yeah, well, Yondu made him sound like he was kind of sus, but never like...
Right, but I mean, but Yondu knows.
Yeah.
And that's my issue. Like, why is it that Rocket had to infer from Yondu that it was bad?
Yeah.
Why couldn't Yondu... Like, why, if Yondu does care so much about Peter, why, when Yondu was sitting in this cell, basically waiting to die, was he still going to die not having ever told anyone the threat of Ego?
Yeah.
Especially Peter. Like, why, when Rocket said, "Oh, Peter's with his dad," Yondu was like, "Ego? No, that's no good. Ego's gonna kill that fool. We need to go help him." Like, why not say that then? And if not beforehand, why not at that moment when you're die?
It may have been because of like they wanted to try to like build up that moment for the third act, but like,
and I fully understand.
I do get that, but
it's just a problem with the character.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been more clear, or like I feel like there could have been a way that you could show that Ego was more than just kind of suspect, and more like this guy's actually a threat. Like there, you could be like, "Oh, we got to get there right now. This is going to be a thing because he kills people or something." I don't know.
Yeah,
there could have been something. Yeah, I get that. It
just didn't feel authentic from Yondu. Like it felt like they were trying to make sure that no one got this twist that was coming, rather than having Yondu react in the way that a father figure who was protecting Peter for years from Ego in the first place would have reacted, having known that Peter was now with Ego.
I honestly kind of like the change in Yondu compared to the first movie, because the first movie like paints him as this really, really bad guy, and this movie like they don't really backpedal on that. Like he's still like a bad guy, but he's just not like this terrible cretin that he is. Even the Ravagers like get upset with him because they're like, "We don't deal in kids," or "We don't do kids," or something like that. Like I don't just like it felt interesting that like these criminals, these hardcore thieves and conmen and stuff like that from space, like have a line they don't cross. They have a code, or whatever. I thought that was really interesting, like honor among thieves type thing. But yeah, with Yondu, for me, I don't know. For me, that problem didn't come up with me because like I don't know, like I felt like I don't know, it kind of went with the stubbornness of his character, the pride and all that. I just felt like that was one of those things that he was just like, I gotta get to Quill. I gotta tell him about his thing. I don't know, but yeah, from a writing perspective, it was probably more of like, we gotta build to that scene. I don't know. What about the music for the movie?
The music for the movie. So again, I liked it. I mean,
so I saw that like, what's his name? Gunn, is it? Oh gosh, the guy who directed it.
James Gunn.
James Gunn. Yeah. I saw that he did an interview. He talked about how he had like a list of songs that he considered like Guardian-esque, like they were like songs that he could see himself putting in a Guardians movie, like from back in the day. And whenever he has a scene that he's just like, "Oh, this needs a song," basically, like he'll like basically kind of comb through that playlist and like pick a song that he feels like most perfectly fits that. I also thought it was really interesting that he actually like incorporated like lyrics to one of the songs as part of like the dialogue. Like it was not just like a song that resonated with the characters, but like the song also had like a deeper meaning and had it affected the story a little bit. Like with the one that his dad was singing about his mom or whatever, with the semen and then the sea basically, and all those different things.
Brandy? that what it's called?
I don't know.
It might be called Brandy.
I'm really bad with music.
That's all right. I like that.
Especially older music. Like, I don't know. People talk all the time about, like, oh, man, 80s had the best music. But and don't get me wrong, the music in this movie is great. But, like...
No, it didn't. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone. That's not accurate. There's plenty of good music.
That's not accurate. No, like, that's how I feel, too. Like, I don't think, like... I don't want to say like any particular era had like the best music or anything, but like it did have quite a few good tracks that jazz really well with the tone of this movie. And I think the music had a lot to do with the tone of this movie. Like had felt put it in a way to make it as fun a title as it is.
I feel about the music almost the exact same way I felt about the music in the first one, in that there aren't a whole lot of songs that I like as just songs by themselves.
Sure.
But I feel like they fit well with the movie and the tone that they go for and the different things. So like Hooked on a Feeling was never... I didn't care about that song ever.
Sure.
But it is real fun to watch Star-Lord walk around this cavernous planet and kick little creatures and shoot stuff while listening to this. I think that's cool. And it's good for his character. It's fun. I do have I really like The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, which is in this movie twice.
Which one's that one?
So it plays when they first decide to go with Ego. So when the party splits.
Yeah.
And then it plays again when he's fighting Ego at the end of the movie.
Oh.
It's got the female lead vocals.
Uh-huh.
You'll Never Break the Chain.
Okay.
I'm not going to sing it.
No, it's fine. I know you're not.
But it's a fantastic song.
It. That's cool. Okay.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel that a lot because it's just well, like a lot of it there's songs that like a lot of the songs they played I'm like familiar with, but I don't like know them enough to like sing along to them
I
or
wouldn't
anything
even
like
say
that.
that
I wouldn't
for
even
me.
like I could hear a song and I'd be like, yeah, I've heard this in a movie or something. I've heard this on a thing or whatever. Like I've heard this on like a variety channel on the radio or whatever, but I've never. These aren't songs that I pull up on my Pandora or something.
I ain't got no Spotify with these songs.
But I'm actually thinking about getting the soundtrack because of the awesome mix or whatever. Just because it'd be kind of neat to have some of those songs.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's not. Ain't no Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I love that soundtrack.
That soundtrack's
so
really
much.
good. Okay, yeah, that's true.
But no, it's good.
It's a different sound.
It's fine. Would you recommend this movie?
Would I recommend this movie? Yeah, no, I definitely. This one's okay. So one of the things I like about the Guardians of the Galaxy is I feel confident in saying people don't need to like know the comics or have really seen any of the other Marvel movies because like for me
completely agree.
Yeah, for me being a comic book fan or being into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Guardians of the Galaxy just seems so like off to left field of it. Like it just doesn't even associate itself that much with that extended universe. So like I feel like anybody could watch these movies and enjoy them for what they are, as opposed to like being like, oh well, this is when they're gonna team up with Hulk one day. Like you know what I mean? Like
I feel that way about the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general.
Yeah, most of them are pretty.
In regards to the comic thing, I don't completely agree with like the other movies. You probably should see all of them if you're going to see any of them.
Yeah.
Especially the Avengers movies like that. Well, I mean, even some of those.
Some of them are pretty tight-knit. Like you could probably watch Doctor Strange a little out of context, or even Ant-Man out of context. But
I think in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, knowing the comics just gives you more things to like gawk at, like when you see Easter eggs or little tiny things. Or it gives you more things to be upset about if you're wanting them.
If you wanted something, or if like
wanted them to be really close to the comics, which by the way they're not going to be. So I haven't read those comics, so I don't really care. Like
I've never read any of the Guardians of the Galaxy comics myself. It's a bit of an older title, but I like what the Marvel Universe has been doing in the past for the comics in general, in the sense of that when they like you said, when they do a movie, they don't necessarily follow the comic that well, and I think that's neat because you can enjoy both the comic and the movie for different reasons. Yeah, and I think that's brilliant. Like, because I don't really need to have a movie be like a cookie cutter version of some of the comics and stuff like that. Like, I was hearing a discussion one day about Age of Ultron and how like a lot of people are like, oh, Age of Ultron's not as good as some of the old Avengers movies, but I was hearing a lot of people were being like, well, it's better than the comic, and I'm just like, apparently,
I've heard people say
I can't confirm that either, but like, yeah, it's from what I heard, the comic's not that great. So I'm like, okay.
I don't know a whole lot about the comic, but
I know
from what I've heard, I hear it would be if you were actually going to do a true adaptation of that, it would probably take a lot longer than a movie.
Yeah.
And it would probably be long and drawn out and boring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I felt about when Fox did the X-Men Days of Future Past, because like that story in the comic is like a lot more convoluted than it turned out to be in the movie. But the movie was like you're meant to sit down and watch it and knock it out and stuff like that. And like Days of Future Past, the original thing is like a graphic novel that like spans like, you know, lots of different characters and storylines.
Were you there when we went to see that movie?
Days of Future Past? I don't remember.
I remember we went there, like we had a church activity, and then afterwards we went, I was just like, hey guys, you want to go see this movie? And like several people who were there just went and saw it with us. It was really, I just remember, because it was like opening night, and the place was packed, just full of people, and I remember that Quicksilver.
Yes.
The Quicksilver sequence.
Yeah.
Was so cool.
Oh, he's great. He's amazing.
Everyone in the theater literally clapped. After the scene had, like, still in the movie, the scene happened, as soon as it wrapped, everyone clapped.
That's awesome.
I was like, that was the first time I'd ever experienced that.
That's
Except
awesome.
for, I think, maybe the end of Seabiscuit, people clapped at that.
The end of Seabiscuit?
Yeah. Was a long time ago. But, like, we were in the movie, and just the scene ended, and everybody was like, yeah! Just clapped. And I was just like... I clapped too. It was real good. I was like, "No, this is new."
That's another one of those like.
I saw The Force Awakens, and it happened again several times.
Right? Yeah, people clap all the time.
Not full clap.
Yeah,
but like.
Well, yeah. The Star Wars.
A whole reaction would be like, "Yeah, woo!" Yeah. A lot of Star Wars fans do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little bit like.
But it was real interesting to have that experience in this X-Men movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like for that, especially for that, like that Quicksilver scene, I think music was a key hand in that one, because that's the one where he's like running around the kitchen and he's like knocking all the bullets out of the way and stuff like that.
No, that's
in the old one, right? That's the other one, not First Class, but
that's in Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, is it?
Yeah.
No, Apocalypse, when they're in the kitchen with the plates and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, when he slows everything down.
That is the kitchen.
Yeah, when he's breaking Magneto out.
I thought, yes.
Yeah,
I thought you meant like the kitchen. I thought you meant like the kitchen of the mansion.
The mansion. No. That's a different scene, but that one also, that's his theme. Like, he just play music and slow everything down. Yeah, no, it's great.
I get you.
Yeah. No, that's,
yeah. So anyway, Guardians.
Yeah.
Good film. How do you feel about all the feels in the movie? What are your feelings on the feels?
Oh, it was. I liked it because I thought it added a lot to the movie. I think I mentioned at the beginning, like there's a lot of heart in this movie, and it did like I felt like that added to the movie. Like a lot, like I've heard mixed things about people's reviews where they're like, oh, this one's better than the first one, or this one's worse than the first one, and things like that. But honestly, I felt like the heart of this one kind of made it better, just because I actually genuinely cared about these characters, because I had that first movie to like kind of get to know them and stuff like that, and like see them bond together and stuff. And then this one was like, it just felt more real. Like when they called each other a family, I was like, yeah, these guys are a family at this point. Like these guys are together, and this is great.
I would agree with
that. But and it even like all the hijinks and stuff just added to that, because it made it especially with the Gamora and Quill. I feel like their relationship was kind of interesting, because I don't remember how close they got in the first one. Like they didn't really ever like state any kind of like matter of love or anything like that. Like they didn't, but they talked about, like, they were joking about how this was like an unspoken thing in the second one. I thought that was really neat that they like addressed the elephant in the room, like that there was like, oh, there's like this tension sort of because at first it seemed just kind of one-sided, but then kind of Gamora seems to feel a little bit about it, which was kind of neat.
Yeah.
And the same for even the relationship with Gamora and her sister.
Nebula.
Nebula, yeah. I thought that was really neat. Because again, from the first movie, I felt like the characters kind of felt, not, I don't want to say one-dimensional because they weren't that bad, but it did feel like they fit into certain archetypes. They felt like they fit a certain way into the story. Like, this is the bad guy, and this is the good guy. This is the smart talker. This is the muscle, things like that. But it's just like, in this movie, they all kind of like blended together a little bit more, and I feel like the chemistry made the mesh better, I thought. And that was really neat to see Nebula do things other than be scary and fight stuff.
Are you gonna miss Yondu?
Yeah, I am. I thought that was so okay. When he died, I was like, oh, this is so sad, and it really made me feel. But I wasn't gonna cry for it. Like I wasn't gonna. I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna cry for this man. I don't really know him that well, but it was kind of neat. But like, you get that.
Yeah, I don't really know him that well.
You get that feeling in movies sometimes where it's just like, if you've been with that character for a while, it's like, oh man, it's just so sad. Yeah. But for Yondu, I was like, he was a kind of a jerk in the first one. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to like, I wasn't gonna waste a tear on him. But then they had that funeral.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
On colors.
Oh, I shed like a single tear, like one of those single manly tears.
One single man tear. No, I get that. I think it was a good send off. Mm-hmm. If he was gonna die, I'm okay with the way he did. I don't like characters dying, mostly because I like to see them continue on.
Yeah.
And I knew it, like. There's a certain point where you know that's gonna happen. Like when Rocket hands him the one aero pack and the one space suit.
Yeah.
From the moment he did that, like that got me. The movie got me at that point because from the moment that Rocket did that, I was just trying to work it out in my head as to how they could do this and get both of them back in, and I was like, this isn't gonna happen. Crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That build up, I feel like that build up is can be pretty interesting for me. So like I feel a similar way because you saw Guardians twice, right? So like was a second viewing like that with the reaction when you know that like he's gonna hand you the thing and you're like that's when the feel started coming in. Because I watched the Power Ranger movie, the new Power Ranger movie, like three times, and I love that movie. I love Power Rangers. We're probably gonna talk about it at some point, but not tonight. But Power Rangers was like they have a scene. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a character that we'll say just falls, and don't worry, everything turns out okay. But there's this moment where like his friends come together for him, and like the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh, this is kind of touching and stuff like that. But then the second and third time I saw it, I was like a little baby in those scenes, just because I knew what was gonna happen, I knew where it was going, but it was just like, oh no. And then they play that like that slow like Stand By Me song. I'm just like, oh no, please, not the feels.
Oh, no. No, I'll do that for any movie with a dog in it because we all know how those movies go.
Yep.
So I don't watch them anymore.
You probably shouldn't watch Turner and Hooch.
Okay, thanks.
Spoilers. The movie's like 30 years old. I don't know.
Spoilers for Lion King,
right?
I guess.
Spoilers for Lion King, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm okay with him dying. Like I said, I think he went out well. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that I am okay with him dying is because I feel like not enough people have actually died in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I felt that too. I felt,
and that sounds ridiculous to say.
It does sound ridiculous.
I need more people to die.
Yeah.
But there were so many opportunities for loss.
Yeah.
And like set up for loss that didn't happen like in Ultron.
Yeah. I was like 90% sure they were gonna kill off Hawkeye at least 2 different
Everybody
times.
Was.
Like I was just like
Joss Whedon.
Especially
they introduce a character and they give him all this backstory.
Yeah, right.
Like, man, look at this great guy. He's a great guy. and then he just died.
Especially when they like introduced his family and he had a house. And
I thought we were just gonna watch him slowly burn.
Right.
Like, he was just gonna everybody was gonna get off of the big city that's falling, and he was just gonna look up and wave.
Yeah.
Or, like salute
just, like,
someone.
Turn to ash or something.
Yeah, just, nope. Instead, they kill someone that we don't care about.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, I mean, I kind of care a little bit, not that much. No, you're right. He's not. I mean, he's not.
Got a cool accent, I guess.
Right. I mean, he played Kick-Ass. I mean, but no.
You guys so cool.
But no.
So like, I think it was cool that, and again, Yondu isn't a guardian of the galaxy. I mean, unless you count the fact that Raccoon or Groot said "Welcome to the team."
Yeah.
Which is fine, but whatever. But like, he's not a main character. That to me is on par with killing Coulson.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
where it was
basically what should happen is we should get an ABC series where Yondu comes back,
right?
Unbeknownst to anyone else in the Marvel universe. Yeah.
It turns out they put all his ashes together in space. They just like plucked out his brain a little bit.
Yeah. It's just.
But yeah, no, because Marvel Universe, it's not. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't kill that many people because there are so many like lovable characters and people don't want to like give up those characters. But I also feel like
I think everybody's building up. I think everybody assumes they're building up to Infinity War. So
sure.
Gonna die there.
Yeah, I imagine there's gonna be quite a few deaths in that one, and that'd be kind of interesting. But my thing is that like, I'm a little okay with that, with the lack of deaths. But at the same time, it does at times kind of feel. Superfluous, not superfluous, is that the right word? Yeah, like it's like a little much or a little you're going to going like extra mile a little bit, but like
you're going the extra mile to keep people alive.
Yeah. Because my thing is like oh well, so one of the things I think puts it really well, like I have so many people like Game of Thrones for the fact, or Walking Dead, or like those kinds of shows where they kill off people like left and right because they're like, oh man, there's this, or even Attack on Titan where they're like, oh man, there's this drama where because like, everybody's like equally edible or whatever, like anybody can die off at any time, and I'm just like, but it's just like. And I get that because they're like, oh, it's more realistic that way. If they're in this universe where people are just dying left and right, you make sense that all the characters would die off all the time. But my thing about it is just like, it's like really, and it wasn't until I saw ERB's or Epic Rap Battles of History's rap between Tolkien and J.R.R. Tolkien, or is it J.R.R. Tolkien and George R.R. Martin, where Tolkien is just like, he's like, newsflash, the genre is called fantasy, it's meant to be unrealistic. And I'm just like, yeah. And it's like, well, I know Marvel isn't like a fantasy, but it's just like, it does feel, I'm a sucker for happy endings. Like I like when everybody survives, you know what I mean? Like I understand it doesn't make that much sense, and it does, like I was thinking, like that's what I was saying, like when it happens so often that there isn't a death, I'm just kind of like, oh well, they should probably kill somebody off, it just makes sense, because it wouldn't make sense if everybody survived forever. But it's just like, but yeah, like I'm not opposed to no one dying. I imagine what's going to happen is there'll probably be more people than we think survive the Infinity War. But
I think, and almost hope, that they kill off Tony Stark.
Really?
I think it will happen because Tony's getting up. I mean, not Tony.
RDJ.
That guy.
RDJ
Junior is he's getting up there. Junior. He can't do a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I mean, like similar to like Hugh Jackman, it's like he's not going to be Wolverine forever.
Sure.
Well,
ever again.
Right. But I mean, like, and I feel like if we were to give Iron Man a good send off in that way,
sure.
Because I mean,
like he go into space with a missile and doesn't come back.
Yeah, he went into space with a nuke, and that was really cool. And he almost died. And he's like, I don't know. I feel like his character, despite several mistakes that he's made and continues to make at times, I feel like he has grown a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I mean, in Ultron, he had that vision where he was it. He was the one who survived, and I think he's probably terrified.
Sure.
Of any of his team or anyone that he cares about actually dying.
Yeah.
And so I think if anyone were to take
the
hit for the team,
yeah,
I assume it would be him.
I could see
they would make it be him.
I could see that because it would definitely be like. I hate when people talk about this. But it would feel like his arc basically would come to an end. Like so many people talk about like, oh, I mean, when a character dies off, they're like, well, they had a complete arc and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, why is it the ending of the character's arc, their growth, is that okay? They learned a lesson, now they should die. And I'm just like, that's so dumb to me. Like, I just don't get it. But so like, what I would think, it does feel like to form, especially since like he had that big discussion with Cap in the first Avengers, where he's just like, you know, would you lay down on the wire and stuff like that? He's like, well, I think I just cut the wire. And it's like, it would be interesting to see Tony actually like lay down his life for his friends, as opposed to just thinking his way out like he always did, or like how he did it in Avengers. But like at the same time, I kind of hope they don't kill him, just because like it'd be nice to see a character who like leaves the story without dying. Like, it'd be kind of neat to just be like, well, I'm just gonna build stuff for you guys, I'm not gonna really fight anymore. But I feel like he would be too, like, as a character, it would make sense for him to die, just because I feel like he would get too invested in that lifestyle. Like, I don't think he would be able to take a step back.
Yeah, I feel like
as the egotistical he is,
especially as he is right now, and as he has been, his like some of the breakdowns he's had and things like that, and how like he's currently not with Pepper Potts because he just can't let this thing go. I feel like in that respect, he's become almost the Bruce Wayne of the universe, and that like Batman's never gonna not be Batman, and he's gonna do everything he can to continue being Batman. Yeah, including cloning himself or whatever other nonsense you can think of. Right. Like, he'll do that. And
that's like in the comics. I heard Magneto. I don't know how long ago this was, but I was like talking to somebody about how like, oh man, nobody seems to age in the Marvel universe. But like I was hearing somebody like how Magneto, like in one of his stories, like one of the first things he did was like find a way to make himself younger, because like they were still going on with the fact that like, oh, he was a World War II survivor. And I'm just like, that would make him really old, guys. That would make him really old. Mega old. So like he had to like de-age himself somehow, and I was like, oh goodness gracious. But yeah, it was neat to have another, I guess, death on the death count for Marvel, because they don't have that many of them. But I also don't mind when they have like that Coulson death. I always tend to like call it like a Maze Hughes death, because it reminds me of Maze Hughes from Fullmetal Alchemist. Spoilers. That anime came out 7 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
10 years ago. I don't know. Came out a long time ago. But like, that story, I don't know what the trope would be called, but like the story where a character dies and their death impacts the rest of the characters. Like they're like it empowers them to go forward, or it puts them in a position of power, or it drives them to continue. Like in some
Obi-Wan
way.
Death.
Exactly. Yeah, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like Yondu was kind of like that. Like it came about in a weird way. Like I thought like maybe somebody else would die, but Yondu felt like the best fit for that.
I like the way, because I mean Yondu like chose that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really neat that it was like it was his decision in the last bit there. Like that was, and I feel like that made the scene so much more impactful, especially like Quill's reaction when he realized what was happening. Like I was just like, no, because you feel so bad for Quill at the time, and what he's going through and stuff. Especially since like he just had like found out his biological father is a jerk, and then he found out his not biological father, the guy who raised him, was actually like a better father than his real father was, and you know, he just had that like that discovery, and that like, I guess I don't want to say closure, I guess, but he did feel like, you know, his life was better than he had always assumed, and then that's when it was like all ripped from him, and I'm just like, that's rough, man.
Rough stuff.
But yeah,
I think overall great movie. Go see it if you haven't.
Totally. Yeah.
Go see it again if you haven't.
See it again. You gonna see it a third time?
Bro.
Just one of those, like, you take your friends to it 7 times.
I totally will, yeah. Gosh, yes.
Was it Scott Pilgrim?
That is exactly what I did with Scott Pilgrim. Hey guys, what do you want to do? Have you seen Scott Pilgrim yet? Nah. Okay, that's what I want to do. Let's go. Everybody in the car. Saw that movie 5 times.
That's awesome. I saw Avengers 4 times, so that's with a similar thing. But I think for those, it's just like, I would just have different friends, and they'd be like, have you seen Avengers yet? And we're like, no. We're like, we should do that now.
Yeah, precisely it. Anyhoozles, I think that's good for that. That's the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, go watch it.
What we're gonna do now?
6 out of 5 stars.
Yes. We're gonna move on to the next 2 sections of the show will be a section of David talking about stuff that he likes to me, and then we'll do a section of stuff that I like talking to David. So because David and I are both good friends, good nerds, but we do have our own sort of likes that we differ from each other. So the general, what we'll probably do, what we intend to do with the podcast is to have just 3 sections where one where we talk together about something that we both enjoy or both experience together, and then 2 other sections where we each talk about something special to us.
Right.
In our
I don't know if I did feel like it just we need to have like time to talk about topics that I think are really cool. Like I may talk about like millennials one day because that's something I really want to talk about at some point.
Yeah. So
even though I'm probably considered
we'll just essentially talk about what's whether it's entertainment or just
things
we find interesting.
Sure.
Different things of that nature.
Yeah. So this week I plan to talk about The Fate of the Furious, and I know I'm real late to the party, guys. I love the Fast and Furious movies a lot. I'm a huge fan of them, and I know the movie came out like a month ago, like a month and a half ago, something like that. But I hadn't heard a lot of people talking about it. I heard it made a lot of money, which makes sense because those movies just like rake in the dough. And but I really wanted a chance to talk about this movie because we just recently saw it like a week ago, maybe a week and a half.
Something like that.
Yeah, not too long ago, and it was
fresh.
For you, it was pretty new. And you hadn't seen 6 and 7. I
still have not seen 6 or 7.
Yeah. Was that how was that with seeing 8? Like, did you think there was a lot of stuff that you didn't understand, or do you think it was able to fill it in a little bit?
The only thing that I really didn't get that would have been better to have known, honestly, was the 2 different ladies in Dom's life. Letty and Elaine.
Elaine, yeah, Elena or Elaine.
Yeah.
The Brazilian girl from 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when does Letty die?
She dies. She quote unquote. You heard the finger quotes. She dies in like the 4th one, I want to say.
Okay.
Or at least that's when because she dies. She kind of dies off camera, is what it is.
Right. And if that is a fact, I don't remember that at all. I saw that movie once and I liked it. That's the movie that's just called Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a number. They didn't start numbering them until 5.
5,
right?
yeah.
Fast
5 is when they came back with the numbers. Because like Tokyo Drift was like not the 3rd one. It was just called Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, Fast and Furious.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and then just the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and then they started
Fast and Furious.
Fast 5, Fast 6, Furious 7, and then Fate of the Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Furious.
All the Fury.
So like
so much Fury.
That was it. Like when he saw her, I was like, oh, this must be an important chick to her. Like I understood to him.
Yeah.
I understood that much.
Yeah.
And like I had said to you, I had it spoiled to me that it was a child.
Yeah, that was being held to. So okay,
that was so sad. Because like the day it came out, I wasn't even looking for a spoil. I wasn't looking for that. I was just watching YouTube and scrolling through my thing, and then one of the videos was literally called "It Was a Kid." And it was a picture of Dom holding this kid. That was the thumbnail of the video. And I was like, I hate you.
Oh, that's terrible.
I super hate
you. That's so awful.
It was bad.
It's like, so...
I wanted to shoot everyone.
Yeah.
I don't even care too much about this series.
I think that was
something I would have liked to have known.
For sure.
I would have liked to have come.
I was actually blown away by that. And I guess spoilers everywhere. Spoilers. Well, I mean, I'm gonna be like...
We spoiled the whole Guardians
I know,
movie.
but I'm just saying, because like, the movie came out like a month ago. So, you know what I mean? Like, if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Spoilers, I guess.
But yeah, spoilers, I guess. I really like how over the top and ridiculous the movies have been getting, and I knew going into the movie
that's definitely a strength of theirs.
Right? I think they played off really well. I think going into the movie, I knew, or I had assumed that the plot was going to be, or the reason that Dom was going to be working with Cypher, I think was her name, right?
Yes.
The hacker chick. I just remember her being in the trailer. She the
actress whose name I just can never correctly pronounce.
Right.
Charlize Theron.
I don't know. The anyway, but no, I had assumed that she was going to be like holding like Paul Walker's character, Brian O'Connor's family hostage or something, and like she would have shown him a picture of him, because I knew, of course, he can't be in it. He passed away, but like I imagined they would maybe like have like the woman that played his wife in it, maybe, and have her and her kids maybe show up as victims and stuff like that. But I feel like on one hand I was like it may be too touchy after 7, but also because Brian O'Connor is the kind of character that like he's too like ingenuitive and things like that. Like there wouldn't be a really good excuse as to why he couldn't like break out or do something crazy and get away or whatever. Yeah. So it was really, I was kind of thrown a loop because I honestly forgot about Elena. Like she really just kind of fades to black at the end of 6 when they find out that Letty really was alive, and she shows up and she's like, "Oh, this is the woman you've loved all along and that you thought died." Well. And what was it? She says because her husband, not father, her husband in Fast 5, in her backstory, she's a cop, or she was a cop in Brazil. Her husband was killed by a mobster. I think it's the mobster that they take down in 5. And she tells Dom in 6 that if there was a chance that her husband was alive, she would go back to him. And I'm like, well, yeah, you gotta, like, you're married.
You do that.
You do, that makes sense. And so, yeah, so, and I don't even know if they mentioned in 6 if Letty and Dom were actually married. I don't know if that was revealed into the 7th one, that they were actually secretly married. But it was neat. It was an interesting experience. And then, but I love, so I thought it was going to be Brian O'Connor and his family being kidnapped and stuff like that. But, like, deep down inside me, like, I wanted it to be weird. Like, I wanted it to be, like, really weird. I wanted them to, like, he's being mind controlled, or like this is a clone that they've produced of him, or they made a robot version of him or something. Like, I wanted it to just get ridiculous. I wanted to be like
they kidnapped his robot.
They put a chip in his brain and she hacked the chip. Like,
he was a sleeper agent this whole time.
Right. I wanted it to get just ridiculous. But no, it was still pretty ridiculous. Like, I mean, after 7, when you jump 2 buildings, like, that's just, it was nuts. And then this one, they had like cars raining down on people. That was just fantastic. The effects of this movie are like, oh my gosh, they went all out. Like, there's like tanks and a submarine, there's missiles, there's just explosion and fan service galore. It's just amazing. And I think that's one of the big draws of it. It's just like, it's definitely one of those, like, a friend of mine used to call them popcorn movies. It's one of those movies you sit down and you enjoy popcorn with. You just shut your brain off and you watch it and stuff like that. But even then, like, I don't know, like, I just really, like, find them charming. Especially with, like, how big family kind of ties into it. I'm a sucker for family stories. Yep. And it's like they're a bunch of right? They're a bunch of like misfits and nobodies, and it's just interesting that they, like, I don't know, I like those stories for some reason. It was really neat seeing some of the characters having kind of a redemptive arc, like Jason Statham coming back from 7, and also Luke Evans coming back from 6. That was spectacular, and that was the moment I just, like, lost my mind. Like, I was just like, what? They brought him back too! Ah! I was freaking out. You were talking about the Star Wars movies and what was the movie where you said they clapped beside Star Wars? It was like
X-Men Days
of Future Past. Well, like, I felt like, and at least when we went to see Fate and the Furious, maybe it's like because so many people were there, and because the movie was just so loud because of all the explosions and stuff like that, I feel like everybody was talking or like emoting, basically, like, just talking when they were reacting to everything that was happening. And I definitely was, like, I was saying stuff. I was excited. Like, I was just, oh man, there's just so much energy in that movie. It was just redonkulous.
No, yeah, I think it definitely felt like they were trying to, like, because I think at first everybody thought this was going to be the last one or something like that.
Yeah.
There were rumors that it was the last one.
Yeah.
Now there are rumors that there are going to be more.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you
make
so much money,
no, like, that's like.
They made
anytime anyone tells me, "Oh, this is going to be the last one of these," and it makes millions of dollars. Like anytime, like I'm just like no. I mean, like even bad movies get more movies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're still gonna see more DC movies.
Oh gosh.
So I mean, like, but like. So no, I mean that's like we've got Pirates coming back.
Yeah.
Which of course is going to make more, regardless of whether or not Johnny Depp stays there.
Sure.
They're of course they're going to make more of those movies because it makes money. People go see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like people talk trash about those movies, but like
I'm fine with them.
They make so much money.
It's a movie. It's a movie about pirates and magic. It's fine.
And magic. Yes.
But yeah, and just like so like, but in Fast and Furious. Fate of the Furious. I liked that we got all these different characters coming back. We got these cameos. Are they twins? The Brazilian kids?
Oh yeah, from 5. They're not twins. They're I think they're just really close. Like I don't know if they're really brothers or anything. But
the guys that they're the ones that grabbed. It's revealed that they're the ones that grabbed. What's his face? Statham's
character. Yeah. They pulled him out.
Forgot his character almost immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt very Ocean's 11 to me.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like the movies have become like high-speed
really
heists.
Cool heist movies. Yes, and so like there's a thing. So there's this. I don't know if you call it a trope or whatever. There's a thing that they do in all of the Ocean's movies that I know you haven't seen. All
yeah, I haven't.
You've seen 11, which is cool.
Yeah, 11 was good. I liked 11
I think it's a good film to see, especially
eventually
if you
I'll
like
get to
heist movies.
Because I thoroughly enjoy heist movies.
Yeah, and I think they set a lot of precedents.
Sure.
For heist movies now, but there's a thing that they do in all of the Ocean's movies, and I assume they probably do it in other movies too. But in all the Ocean's movies, there's a point where something goes wrong, or different from whatever plan that they present to you as the audience.
Yes.
And you're like, oh crap. And from that point though, it's always going exactly according to someone's plan that just hasn't been revealed to you.
Yes.
And by the time you get to the end of the movie, they go back and they show you what this plan was and how it went through. Nice. They do that in all the Ocean's movies, and they did that in this movie when they showed you how everything worked out with Dom shooting What's-His-Bucket. They capture What's-His-Bucket who got shot, revive him, Luke shows up.
Yeah, and it just everything.
Great. And oh gosh.
It's just like, it's one of those things that it's like, I love that about heist movies. Like that's like one of my favorite things to do in heist movies is that there's that thrill that like, oh no, they're gonna lose. How are they gonna get out of this? And then it's just like it was the whole plan all along for this to go wrong. And like that's like for me, I don't think you've actually seen it, but like that's like every episode of Leverage. Like that's like,
right.
That show is so good.
I wouldn't mind seeing
it's a heist show, and like every episode is just like. But in that one, it's neat because. Like when their plan goes wrong, it's literally because their plan went wrong, and they basically just have to make it up at that point. Yeah, and it's just really neat.
Whereas in this movie, in Furious, and also in basically all of the Ocean's movies,
the plan going wrong was part of the plan.
It was part of at least someone's plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually it's Clooney's plan.
Yeah.
Or Brad Pitt's plan. Whatever the character.
Or in this case, Dominic's or Vin Diesel's plan.
Right. Vin Diesel's plan. It's like it's their plan all along that this thing happens.
Yeah.
And someone doesn't like. Usually the audience doesn't know.
Yeah.
And at least one member of the team doesn't realize.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that's like. I think that feeling in those kinds of movies, and it does really well in this movie. I think it's almost like when you're in a magic show and like the thing something disappears, and it like the prestige, and it like comes back later and stuff like that. And you're like, oh man, how did they do that? That was amazing. And that's one of the reasons I think, and people are probably gonna hate this, but it's one of the reasons I love Now You See Me so much. Yeah. It's because it's such a good mixture of magic and heist movie.
I like these movies a lot too. But they get some guff, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's a movie about magic.
Right.
It's whatever.
Daniel Radcliffe was in the second one. Come
on. Right. Got Harry Potter on his book. So,
but
I like that. I enjoyed that sequence. But again, and like I enjoyed that they brought all of these characters in. They're like, hey, you like this about this series? Guess what? It's in this movie, just like it was in that other movie before.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like everything was back, with the exception of like Wonder Woman and the Asian guy that died.
Han. Yeah. Han and I forget what her name was in the movie.
And old boy,
Gal Gadot.
That was literally actress. Only there for
Tokyo Drift.
That would have been cool for him to show up.
It would have been really cool. And like
this is like a passerby.
I had heard a rumor like before 7 had come out, like, and it must have just been that because now he's doing like NCIS New Orleans or something, and he's basically playing that same character. He's playing that Southern guy, but he's now like he's just a Southern cop basically instead of a fast driver. But no, he's like I had heard a rumor that they had put him under contract for the next like 3 movies or whatever, like 7, 8, and 9. Just like in case, basically, in case they wanted him, and so I don't know if that's true. Like if they actually like have been paying him this whole time and just haven't been using him or whatever, or whatever the case may be, because he seems tied up in the other show and other thing. But yeah, no, I would definitely love to see him come back, just because like I felt him and Vin had kind of a rapport, especially like so close to Han's passing, and that guy was like Han's like
and Vin actually met this.
Yeah, exactly. Like they raced and everything.
He rolls up at the end of Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. Makes a total appearance in that movie.
Yeah, I think in regards to that, though, and all these people coming up, that made it feel like this maybe is like maybe a last huzzah for this whole group.
Sure, yeah, it did feel a little bit like that.
But I don't think I ever believed the rumors that this was going to be the last
movie. One, yeah.
Especially if it was going to make money, and I don't think the people making the movie believe that either, which is a point that I made to you after we watched it, and the fact that Cypher isn't actually killed.
Yeah, she gets away. Yeah.
And it's all Gucci.
Yeah, exactly. That way nobody brings up the fact that, or like they bring it up, but like there's no like big huzzah or like fuss about the fact that Cypher's away because they're like, we got all our assets or whatever.
She's fine.
Like,
We'll
get her
for at least the next 6 months. She won't do anything horrible. So
right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Definitely. So I think they definitely weren't planning to end this series here. I don't believe that for one sec.
Some things I really, really love about this movie, or especially all the movies in general, but especially this movie, is the dialogue, like the quips the characters have back and forth. They like snap at one another, especially when it comes to Roman Pierce. I can't remember the actor's name. He's the loudmouth one that drives the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
He's great. And in Fast 6, when Hobbs, the Rock's character, starts working with the crew, he and the Rock just don't like each other, and they have like some of the best like interactions back and forth. And it was really neat to still see like they had that like on-screen chemistry, and that they're just like constantly like just bantering back and forth. I thought that was really neat. I find him. Oh, he's hilarious. That guy is so great. And I think
that's the kind of thing you get once you have this many movies with people who have become this close.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. Like it definitely felt like the actors had a lot of fun with this movie, or probably as much fun as we had been watching the movie. And I think that's a really good sign of a good movie in these types of things. And and also for this one, it was really neat because it's like they had a lot of like enemies teaming up and stuff. And Jason Statham had that with Hobbs. When they took him down, the two of them were like partners in this movie, and they did not like each other, and they had a lot of words for one another. I thought they had a really cool, interesting chemistry on the screen. But it was interesting because I thought Jason Statham, after killing Han and Luke Evans' character, Shaw, I think is his last name, or his first name, I don't know. He was after killing Han and in 6 killing Gal Gadot's character. I had thought like there would be like no redemption for these characters and things like that. But it was neat to see. Like we've seen in the past in all the movies really, and it's interesting because like I'll have this moment where like I'll be like, oh, this is not like it was in the old movies. When you go back in the old movies, you do kind of see hints that like Dom is a lot more forgiving than we kind of give him credit for. Like we kind of see him as like this like street thug criminal type person, and he's painted that way, but like he's a genuinely kind of nice guy. He's kind of like a teddy bear. I don't know, man. This guy's like, I don't know, kind of an upstanding Christian. I don't know. He's always wearing the cross. I don't know. But it's interesting because, like, he talks about forgiveness, and he talks about, like, the first guy he races in the beginning of the movie. I love that so much because he talks about how he races the guy for his car, and he beats him with this, like, crap car that he, like, shreds down to nothing, and he, like, basically explodes the engine to fight him. And
shoots the car into the ocean.
Shoots the car into the ocean afterwards, yeah. And like he wins the guy's car in the race, and the guy's like, "Oh, you have my car, and you have my respect." And he's like, "You keep your car," you know. He's just like takes the respect. And I was hoping, and I don't think you would have got this, but I was hoping that he was gonna say, some people find that more important, because that's a line that Paul Walker's character says in the first Fast and Furious when they first race. He's like, he talks to Vin Diesel and he's like, I'm gonna win. He's like, I'm gonna get the car and the respect. And he's like, the respect, and he's like, some people feel that's more important. And I was like, I thought that would have been a really neat touchback for that. But it was still cool. It was still neat for what it was. Because
it was also good that they worked him into the plot. He's part of the plan that
exactly. I thought that was, because I thought he was just going to be a throwaway character. It was really cool that he came back. Yeah. And you know what's really cool is it's like they do that with these characters in these movies. Like that's how it felt with all bringing all the characters back from the previous movies, all the cameos and stuff. I was just like, oh man. It was interesting, the actress that got to play Shaw and Statham's character's mother, the British woman that came in. She's from Red and Red 2. I can't remember her name, but I thought she did an excellent job for what it was. But she played this like cold, like mobster British like woman. It was really, really neat. And like I didn't. So she wasn't in previous movies. She was not. This was the first time I had seen her, and it was really cool for what it was, because I was just like, who is this character, and why does Vin know her?
That's cool, because I think if she had been in previous movies, you would have known immediately. And that something was different.
Oh yeah,
so
exactly.
I think it's cool that they introduced a third-party character that was related to other characters. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was ridiculous, because I was like, oh man, who is this? I couldn't get it, but then I started to get it towards the end when I understood when it's kind of revealed or kind of hinted at that she's the mother of either Jason Statham's character or Luke Evans' character. But then I forgot that they were brothers. Like I forgot that the whole Jason Statham movie in 7 was because he was getting revenge for Shaw. And also, okay, so like my only gripe with this movie is like, I have a few gripes, but this is like the major one. But like the freaking Luke Evans' character Shaw, like, so in 6, like Gal Gadot's death was the fact that like she was
quotes everyone, quote unquote death.
Well, I mean, she died because she had other things to do, but it was interesting. but it's like because the actress had other things to do, but like the character died, quote unquote, by
this is Wonder Woman.
Yes, okay, by like saving Han from this guy while she was like riding a car that was being dragged by this plane, and she fell backwards off the car as it's going like high speeds or whatever, and she just fell off into the darkness, which we assumed is death, basically. But then Shaw, the way they beat him was he was in a car in the plane, and basically like they stopped the plane or something, or I don't remember what it was. They sped it up, I don't know. But basically the car he was in like went so fast to the back of the plane that it hit this like blockade. Basically the car hit the blockade, and he was thrown from the windshield of the car out of the plane and into the darkness. And I'm like, why is he alive? How did he survive? Like, he's got some scarring on his face, and I'm just like, no, like he should be like
fell
brain
into a
dead.
cavern where Nosferatu lived, and he was like, drink my blood and you can live forever. That's exactly what happened, David.
We saw Dracula. That's exactly what happened. Right. That was right before he went to the war, and then afterwards he settled in France, where he told everybody to hunt down a beast. But no, I was like, what? But it was neat to see him. I don't know. It was cool to see him again. It was fine. Yeah,
Letty's alive. It's all good.
Yeah, like nobody and that's the thing. Like a lot of people have talked about how, and I totally agree with this. Like the movies have gotten like superhero movie level of action, which I just think is so great. I just love that so much. It just fits so well, and it's like it's basically like its own extended universe now. Like
which is cool. Like I like it when you can build things like that out of things that don't really have contents.
Yeah,
like
there's
previous content.
Yeah, there isn't source material they're working off.
Source material. Yeah, that's what I was super looking for. Thank you, David.
Yeah, besides I don't know, Vin's own enjoyment of fast cars. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoy the movie. I think everybody
Vin's been writing a comic for years, and that's what this is. He's just never released it. Right. One day we're gonna see all his storyboards.
This is his old D&D campaign. He's finally like getting on screen. No, that was the Last Witch Hunter.
Yes.
Which you should watch that too. It's
okay,
good.
I'll do that.
But no,
Thanks,
I really think it's a good watch. If If you haven't watched it, get it. I'm gonna get it on DVD, and everybody's like, "Oh, DVD's dead," but I'm still gonna buy that DVD or the Blu-ray, probably Blu-ray, but 4K. I don't know.
CDs are supposedly dead, and I buy the crap out of them. You know why? Because I have a crappy car that doesn't have an aux cord.
Yep.
Or an aux jack. That's whatever.
Yeah.
Or Bluetooth, whatever.
But yeah,
it's fine. But I can put 6 CDs in that mug. So
6 CDs, yeah. Height of luxury right there.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Hey, Random goes through all my CDs, David. Random's everything. Yeah, but my CDs get scratched like this. So I don't do that. Nope.
But yeah, Fate of the Furious, I rate 8 out of 8.
8 out of 8. It's great.
Great, mate. I rate 8 out of 8.
Excellent. Yeah.
8
Cool.
stars out of 5.
I'll just agree with David. It was great. Go see it. Don't watch any other. In fact, if you haven't seen any Fast and Furious movies, just
watch the 8th one.
Yeah. You'll get none of the references, but you'll enjoy all of the action. Yeah.
Oh man, the fight scenes in action are so great. But yeah.
Oh gosh, yes. When Statham fights everybody with a baby.
In his arm.
That is the best.
It's the best fight scene ever.
Oh my gosh.
It's the coolest thing.
Oh.
Gosh.
And it was really obvious to me that they didn't really have a lot of either money or time to give to Luke Evans.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just like...
It had very little of him in there.
Just go find the pilot. And so like he was in like 2 scenes, maybe.
Yeah.
He was in the beginning of the plane, and then he was in the
He held a gun to
pilot in the cabin. What
yeah, he was at the pilot. Yeah, in the cockpit. Yeah,
that's the word.
In the cockpit,
and just
of the
like
plane.
holding a gun at the pilot, being like, "Yeah, look, bro, you know what to do.
You know, this here's a stick up."
Yeah, that was it. That's
right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, no, good movie.
We're in control of the plane. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, that's how you rob planes, right? This here's a stick up. You see?
Yeah. Excellent. So. Now,
and you,
it's time for my part.
What are you bringing today?
So, I'm bringing up an anime that I love. So, fun fact about David and I, we both enjoy anime and to some degree manga. I read more.
You more manga than me. Yeah. I read a little bit. I've read a lot of the Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece manga a little bit. Because
I've stopped reading a lot
getting
of
through
Naruto,
those anime, getting through those anime are real hard.
Gosh.
But the manga is a lot more fun.
But the difference I think in our two fandoms is that mine started when I was way young.
Yeah, definitely.
And so
I didn't know there was good music until like 2 months ago.
I have earlier experience with anime.
Yes.
Than David does, or experience with older anime. And the one I'm going to talk about today is my favorite anime, which is Yu Yu Hakusho. Which David knows a little bit about.
Very, very little about.
A smidge about.
I've heard some quotes. I could probably do it abridged. I don't know.
I really like this anime, and some of it's definitely nostalgia because it was one of the first ones that I watched.
Sure.
That I saw a lot of. It first came on television here in America on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network.
Yes.
It started there, and it went through like its first season, which was like through the 4 Saint Beasts. If you know anything about them, which you probably don't.
Nope.
That's fine. Hey, okay.
I'm giving him a blank stare as he talks to me about an anime I've never seen.
And so I played through that, and then I don't know if they didn't have great ratings or if they thought it might do better on Toonami, but eventually it made its way like a cut version of it, like an edited version of it, made it to Toonami.
Cool.
Which was interesting to see little differences.
Yeah.
It's like on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Yusuke was caught like smoking at school, but in like the Toonami version, he was just like eating Pez or some candy.
Yeah. was it like a 4Kids dub or something? Or
no, so it wasn't. It's just like they cut out because they went from an Adult Swim thing where they could put whatever they wanted to. To a Toonami thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Where they couldn't show.
Yeah.
Middle school kids smoking.
Right, and now Toonami's like just like whatever you want now.
Probably. I haven't watched it in years. This was back when Toonami was every day, which you claim to not remember.
Yeah, I got cable so late. I got it. I'm so sorry. I'm poor. Help me, I'm poor.
Help me, I'm poor. Well, yeah, like so. It used to be every day. And that was the days of freaking. Gosh, way back in the day, like Dragon Ball Z Reboot was an original like television show that they put on. the Gundams would play, like G Gundam and things like that.
Sure.
Gundam Wing, maybe? I don't...
Yeah, I've seen very little Gundam. I think it's neat. And so, honestly, like, I really want to get into a Gundam show. Scott and Kaylee...
You can take your pick, man. There are just dozens.
I have a twin brother, and he just got married to a friend of ours, and a few months ago, like not even a month ago. It's been a while. It's not too long.
It's been a month
ish. Ish. But anyway, we went to a convention and they bought a one of those Gunpla of a Gundam, and it was a Gundam from I was like, well, how would you guys know? Like, you don't know anything about Gundam. Why pick whatever? And they picked one from the most current Gundam, the Iron Blooded Orphans show.
Yeah.
And they started watching that show and they're really liking it. And I'm just like, gosh, I really want to watch that show.
It's cool.
It looks great.
I would kill for G Gundam, like to just watch that again.
Oh yeah.
So I remember that being
Is G Gundam the one with all the nationalities?
Yes.
I heard that's the one that's like really racist.
Oh, it probably is. I mean, anime is racist. Like, like I think anime, and I guess their writers or whatever are a lot of people that really just don't care at all about stereotypes or showing this like like they don't give two craps. I mean, like there's Hitalia is a show where countries are personified and
exactly
whatever. Anyways,
Hitalia.
What were we talking about? Yeah, Hitalia. No, I'm trying to get back into where we were.
Yeah, I get you, man. I got you off track. Off with Yu Yu Hakusho. Sorry. Anyway,
watch Gundam. It's great. It's good. It's enjoyable. It's a good time. But yeah, so this was back in the day. We were talking about Toonami. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Following the train back to where we were on track. I really enjoy Yu Yu Hakusho for a bunch of reasons that I'm going to do my best to make clear.
Do it.
It's one of the anime. So this was early on in my experience with anime, and anime has a very special place in my heart because, I hear a lot of stories about people whose friends got them into anime or showed them something, and that was just never the case for me. If I got into any of that, I found it on my own. It was on television. Mm-hmm. It was on Toonami, Cartoon Network, or I saw it in the store. I saw it this is way back in the day when they had magazines that would review anime and come out, like Animerica and Anime Insider and New Type USA, things of that nature, back before magazines died, I guess. And you could make a magazine about literally anything and it would do fine. But yeah, and so it was way back then, and I didn't have people to teach me stuff. Yeah. So I really valued what was on TV. I tried my best to get. I did a little bit of stuff on the internet, but I wasn't very computer savvy. So that hadn't opened up to me yet. But I just ate this stuff up and really liked it. And I don't know. I felt like I was definitely sort of a loner in that respect. Sure. Both at school and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
so,
anime wasn't as big back then, right?
It's super
at least here in the States. Yeah.
No, and if there were people at school that recognized the stuff that I liked, it was because they recognized Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. Or Yu Yu Hakusho. That's where I'd gotten. Not even Yu Yu Hakusho, like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, Things I'd gotten into
I like that.
DBZ back in the day.
I mean, like I have the first issue of Shonen Jump in America.
Nice. Really?
Beat to crap. And real old.
I wonder if that was worth anything.
Probably not in the condition that
yeah.
There were pages missing, all kinds of nonsense. Goodness. Like it's, I used that. I lent it out. Like I shared it with people. Like, but yeah, that's and then I also have tons more issues of it, but because I eventually subscribed. But anyway, Yu Yu Hakusho is really really cool. It was back early on in my experience with anime. It was before I really understood the sub dub war. I didn't really know anything about subs. And I didn't really have much of opinions on dubs at that time. And so, also, I hadn't gotten into manga just yet. And I think so. A lot of the time, my issue with dubs is that they don't sound, either English or Japanese, is that they don't always sound the way I picture the characters sounding in my head. Sure. Which is, I think, why I prefer sub, because if they're speaking a different language, it doesn't really matter how they sounded in my head speaking English when I was reading the manga. Yeah. But when they speak English, and it doesn't gel with what I saw in my head. It just makes it hard for me to watch.
I feel like that's similar with like books like, being made into movies and such. Like and stuff like those. That's the big conflict in most people's minds. Is like, oh, this character's not like that in the book. Yeah, okay.
Definitely, yeah. And so with Yu Yu Hakusho, it's one that I really like the dub for.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just how I was introduced to the characters. When I saw them, that's the voice they had.
Yeah.
Kuwabara has got that ridiculous voice. I love Yusuke's voice. I really like. So we've both met Chuck Huber.
Yes.
Who does plenty of voices now, and he voiced Hiei. He's also the voice of Android 17.
Yeah.
And Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I recently watched
probably some other
an episode of Dragon Ball Super on Toonami actually last night, and they're still in the Resurrection F movie. Like we saw the episode where they wish Frieza back as like chunks of Frieza basically.
Yeah.
And I forgot that Chuck Huber plays Emperor Pilaf, the little like short guy that has with the girl and the sword and the dog or whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, I know this voice. Yeah. I remember him. Yeah.
Excellent.
So it's cool. He's getting work. I love that guy.
Yeah. We talked with him and yeah, if I recall correctly from my conversation with him, he's set to do 17 again.
Yeah.
Whenever he gets back to it, but that's not for like.
Yeah, they just met him in the sub, and that's like
that's
100 episodes from now.
Forever.
Right.
See, that's a series that they should have done simulcasts for. Is that what that's called when they?
Yeah, when they dub like.
They dub it in like a week.
Yeah.
When it comes out, and they just show it like.
Yeah, I mean they're getting there. They're working on it apparently.
I'm sure they are.
But it helps that they're only releasing like an episode a week or whatever, and so and it doesn't take them that long to dub whole episodes of shows.
So it helps for my like of Yu Yu Hakusho the dub didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy the show. I feel like Yusuke is really relatable. He was super relatable for me as an angsty kid because he himself isn't just this angsty kid. His dad. He doesn't have a dad basically.
Yeah.
His dad's a no-show.
He's a Disney kid.
Yes, he's a Disney kid.
Kill the parents off.
Nearly an orphan. Yeah, he's quite comparable to whatever the kid's name is from Treasure Planet.
James Pleiades Hawkins.
Sure.
Jimbo.
Except if his mom in that one
was also dead.
Incredibly irresponsible.
Oh, okay.
No, he has a mom.
Okay.
She exists and she shows up in the show. She
like,
just doesn't give two craps.
Yeah.
She just kind of lays around and smokes.
I get you.
And so, like, he's just this delinquent.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him a lot because he just... No one's ever really cared about him, and so he's just kind of never really learned to care about anybody else.
Yeah.
And in the first episode, he gets killed, and it's great. He's just straight up murdered. But he's not murdered. He's this rough kid, and he beats up guys and gets in fights, and like it's funny because he has like this reputation as this great fighter, but he doesn't. All these gangs kind of challenge him all the time.
Sure.
But he doesn't join a gang. He doesn't have a gang. He's very much a loner.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just seems like that cool angsty kid that you would relate to as a kid.
He sounds like. At least, like, especially with the ghost thing, it sounds a lot like the first few episodes of Bleach. Like,
yes, no, it super is. It super does. Like,
and I know Bleach came out way later.
Way later. So this
came out. Like...
Yu Yu Hakusho came out on the heels of the original run of Dragon Ball Z, I think.
Or Dragon Ball.
Or Dragon Ball. It might have been Dragon Ball Z though.
Okay.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I looked that up because Dragon Ball Z, I think, originally came out late '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Like 88-ish to like 90 something.
Yeah.
I think. And this show came out early 90s, like 91 to 94 in Japan.
Sure.
And so yeah, but yeah, it does sound a lot like Bleach. And like the reason I like this anime is because I think it sets up there's a lot of things that other animes pull from or do that I think is very similar to this. And in that he dies saving this kid from being hit by a car. Have you ever even seen the first episode or heard of it?
Not even.
Okay, so he's skipping school.
You walk me through it, sir.
He's skipping school. He's having a rough day. It's difficult. He beats the crap out of Kuwabara and his gang. Because Kuwabara basically is the top of all the gangs in the realm.
He's like the bully or whatever.
Except for Yusuke. Like if Yusuke went around, Kuwabara would be like the man to beat, and so he hates that. Yeah. He's from another school. Like he's not really a bully so much as he's just in a gang.
He's just a
and so he
guy,
challenges Yusuke. Him and these two guys try to jump Yusuke, and Yusuke just beats the snot out of him. It's great. And he's walking down the street and he sees this kid like throwing this ball around, and the ball runs out into the street, and Yusuke goes and grabs the ball, grabs the kid, and pulls him out of the street. And he's like, "Hey, don't go into the street. That's dumb." And he like does some funny faces for the kid and like entertains the kid and gives him his ball back and stuff. And like, I think he leaves from there and it falls back into the street. He might go pick it up a second time. I'm not really sure, but it goes back into. He's just like, "Don't do this again. Stop it, kid." And he just like walks off, and it falls back into the street again. And he's like, "Oh, fine, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it." But then he sees a car coming, and there's this car that just screams around the corner, obviously drunk or dumb people.
Yeah, somebody irresponsible.
The kid was like very much in front of the car, going to be hit by the car. He saw the kid. He tried to yell at the kid. He runs out. He pushes the kid out of the way. Gets hit by the car.
Oh, like a hero.
Yeah, just like a hero.
Kind of like a hero.
Straight up dies.
Oh god.
Right there, just dead on the street, and. It's really interesting.
It's the shortest anime ever.
Yeah, done. Roll credits. And like a Shinigami comes.
Right.
That's Botan.
Okay.
If you know who that is.
Nope.
Okay. She just looks like a regular cute girl. She's on that cup.
Cute girl. Oh, this chick.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've seen her in some
I have a mug with several of the characters on it.
I've been looking at this like Yusuke on your lamp behind you the whole time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he's hanging out right there.
You've got all kinds of Yu Yu Hakusho
Yusuke
stuff.
keychain hanging out. I've got more somewhere.
Yeah.
He is around here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Any hoozles, yeah. So that happens. Botan comes to him, keeps him sort of like lets him know, "Hey, you're dead," and problem is though
sucks to suck.
Yeah, sucks to suck. We don't have a place for you.
Yeah.
Because normally people's deaths are planned out and they're going to heaven or hell or wherever it is they're going to go. And so they find him and they're like, "Hey, so straight up, we didn't expect you to be a good guy at all or help save this kid. Yeah, we weren't planning your death and you just basically broke fate and died."
This kid broke fate?
Yeah, essentially his own fate. They were just like,
I see.
"We don't have a place for you, but we're going to try and figure things out." And it's at this point that he's given the proposal of becoming the spirit detective.
Okay, this sounds a little bit like R.I.P.D. a little bit.
Yes, it is. It does sound very much like that. That's why I really like that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed that movie quite a bit.
I'm curious about that comic, but yeah.
So, yeah, essentially they're just like, "Hey, we weren't expecting you to die. In fact, the kid wasn't even going to die. It was going to be like a miracle. He was just the ball was actually going to absorb all of the hit, and he was going to come out perfectly fine with no scratches. But instead, you pushed him out of the way. You got a bunch of bumps and bruises, and you died. So this ended horribly." It's really funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, essentially at this point in time, there's an opening needed for a spirit detective.
You'd think they'd have like a clause somewhere, or like, you know, like, "Oh, if this were to happen, you do these things."
Yeah, you think, but nah.
You know, after however long people have been on this earth,
yeah,
you'd think an afterlife would be a little more organized.
Yeah, I love their definition of the afterlife too, because so like the person you meet the most, you see the most in the afterlife is Koenma, who is like the son of the god of the afterlife, who I don't even remember the name of.
Yeah.
But he's the one who basically he's kind of like running the bureaucratic part of it. And there's all of these oni, these like Japanese ogre monsters.
Yeah.
They're basically like, they're just like clerks, and they're just running around with papers, like trying to get stuff done, and just a bunch of bureaucratic stuff. It's real funny. It's great. I love that.
That's awesome.
I love the humor in this show. But yeah, so Yusuke dies, and he goes through his first real arc, which is shortened in the anime, is him getting his body back.
Okay.
Which takes a good bit of time. And there's a lot of trials and stuff, and like Yusuke's the kind of guy where like almost like what you were talking about with Dom, in that like he's painted as this, and you wouldn't expect much out of him, good things, but he always just kind of
he tends to surprise you as the viewer.
He always makes that good decision, and so I'll let y'all see that if you want to watch it.
I think it's neat for those kinds of types, because it's like I feel like I feel like it feels a little bit like like when you hear about girls that like the bad boys, and they're like, oh, it's because deep down inside you think you may be a good guy, or whatever.
Right.
But it's like when you actually see those kinds of things, I'm like, okay, I can see the appeal. Like I feel like it is endearing to whatever character that is doing. I don't know. You tend to attach yourself to those characters.
But yeah, I like the series a lot. And so throughout that first little bit, the first little arc, he gets his body back. Next arc is basically him and Kuwabara, I believe, go up, and he's essentially attempting to get trained by this person so he can be a better spirit detective. I think he is a spirit detective at this point in time.
Is Kuwabara a spirit detective at this point?
No. I don't think he's ever... No, there's only one spirit detective. And like his goal, his role, the spirit detective's role is to protect humanity from demons.
Does the show have like a status quo that's kind of like returned to all the time? Like, is there like a
eventually
does the show kind of have like an episodic formula that it goes through? Like, is it like a cop drama where like every episode it's a new ghost he has to take down or something? Like, I don't know.
So at first a little bit,
okay,
but not exactly, and it doesn't go over just an episode to episode.
Sure.
It is very much a tournament fighting anime.
Okay.
And it takes on that trope just through the whole gosh darn thing.
Oh yeah.
It's just another excuse, or any excuse they can make to do a tournament, even if it's not a traditional tournament.
Hunter x Hunter, DBZ.
Hunter x Hunter, which is from the same person.
Yeah. Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yes.
That's cool. Okay.
So
I've seen very little of that. I hear good things.
Yeah, and so it's a tournament anime, and like one of the first things they do is when he's trying to get trained by Genkai, I believe is her name. It's a tournament.
Okay.
She's like, I'm gonna pick my next apprentice.
Okay.
So everybody who's here, fight. Well, they go through different trials and things first.
Sure.
But eventually it
boils.
It boils down to
when
a
you're
fight.
choosing an apprentice.
It boils down to a fight. Yes, that's how we do it. Today I'm choosing my next apprentice as head chef, and
I'd like you all to walk through this wall of fire.
Please pick a knife, and whoever's still alive gets the position. Right. Ready to go!
That's like I was watching the Forged in Fire with your dad, and they're like he was telling me about the show, and he's like, oh well, these guys, they make these blades, and after they narrow it down and stuff like that, and then they narrow it down to 2 people, and then those 2 people like make a sword or something at their house, for they have 5 days to make whatever sword or weapon it is, and it's just like I only saw the one episode, but I was watching them and they were talking to these 2 guys, and it's like a competition, so they make it so dramatic, and they had this moment where they're like, you 2 are the final, and I'm just like, is this the moment where they pick up their blades and they stab one another?
There can only be one.
There can only be one bladesmith.
Yeah. But I really enjoy the characters in this show.
Yeah.
Eventually they meet Hiei and they meet Kurama.
It's got kind of a...
Kurama? Yeah, Kurama.
I don't want to say, I guess not an ensemble cast, but it does have like quite a bit of characters with screen time, right? Like it's got a big supporting cast for that show.
And it comes in pretty slowly.
Okay.
The cast comes in slowly. So like...
That's always nice because you get a chance to like feel them out and stuff.
So like when Kuwabara comes into the group, he's basically just more or less a tag along.
Mm-hmm. He's like along for the ride.
And also a thing that's similar to Bleach, that Bleach probably stole.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Kuwabara, from being around Yusuke, who uses spirit energy, eventually develops the ability to use spirit energy.
Yeah.
So
it's
how...
like Chad and Orihime and all those characters got their spirit weapons.
So,
then they kept changing Chad's backstory or Sato's backstory. They're like, oh, he's actually part hollow or something. I don't know. Yeah. It's like, okay, whatever.
Sure. All right. So eventually he develops that, and like, so at first, and like, I think it might be Genkai helps him turn that into a sword, whatever.
Cool.
So he uses a sword.
That sounds neat.
Yeah. So Yusuke shoots a blast out of his finger, that they call the spirit gun in the English dub.
The spirit gun.
The spirit gun. In the Japanese dub, in the manga they call it the ray gun, because ray is the word for spirit. So they just translated the word to the spirit, because he shoots spirit energy.
Yeah. So it's not like R-A-Y ray gun, but like R-E-I.
No, R-E-I.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does the spirit gun have ammunition? Like, what does he do to power this gun?
So at first, he can only shoot it once a day, because it basically comes from his aura.
Once a day.
His spirit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is he really good at shooting things?
Not at first. So like he has to. That's the other thing I really like about the show.
It's really interesting because it's just like, all right, kid, you're gonna be a detective. You're gonna solve crimes. There's criminals out in the
13
streets.
and
here's a gun with 1 bullet.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's it. But I think that sets it up really well because the show oftentimes in fights depends a lot more on people figuring stuff out about their opponent.
Yeah.
And like thinking through the fight. As it does like who's the strongest. Like it's much more about outthinking your opponent or just sometimes straight up being lucky.
Yeah. I think that's one of the big things that makes One Piece so like how it's lasted so long in that like there is kind of a power creep. Like a lot of enemies have power creep, like in Bleach and Dragon Ball Z, where it's like they get stronger and stronger and stronger and stuff like that. And One Piece, there's a little bit like that, but generally it's like they find this new enemy and they're like, oh, this enemy can do this thing. Well, we have to figure out how to get around that. And it's just like, yeah,
and that's just what it is. It's just they spend a lot of time, or a lot of the fights, when it comes down to it, it's either Yusuke specifically. It's just the fact that he doesn't want to give up. Like he doesn't want to be beat, and he won't. Yeah. And so he'll just hang around until he figures something out. Like he'll just get the crap beat out of him until he figures out what's going on.
That's cool.
And does stuff. And it's like he thinks on his feet pretty well. So I enjoy that. I like that about a lot of the characters. The only character that probably doesn't do that is Hiei, just because he's the dark-haired, moody BA character.
He's the prodigy or something. Oh, okay.
He's the,
all right.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what he is. He's the
got the Sharingan.
What's Rukia's older brother?
Oh gosh. Kuchiki? No, Kuchiki's her last name. It's
Is it Byakuya?
Byakuya, yeah.
He's
yeah.
He's the guy that doesn't talk a whole lot. He's got that dark hair. He's got a crap ton of power that he just kind of hangs out with.
Bankai is OP as
so like crap. One of my favorite things that this anime does, and one of the early series, the 4 Saint Beasts that I told you about, it's cool because it's just it's an opportunity for each of these 4 characters to fight someone one-on-one, and you just get to see what these people do.
Nice.
You get to see Kuwabara sort of outthink some guy, and like he understands, like he comes to the realization that this person is eating his energy, his spirit energy, so he just puts it on blast and blows the man up.
What the heck?
You see Kurama beat someone. I don't even remember how that happened. He does his rose whip thing. But
he does a rose whip thing.
The cool thing is because Hiei's battle is so perfect. He's fighting this guy who freezes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight lasts 2 minutes. He runs into the air. There's some slashing noises. He hits the ground on the other side of the person, and he just falls to pieces.
What the heck?
And that's it. And it's so freaking cool. He has a sword.
That's awesome.
And because like that's one of the things that I really want to happen sometimes in anime is just like the bad guy shows up and he's just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna take you. Let's go. And the good guy at this point is just so good at what he does, he can just trounce him.
Yeah. Indiana Jones just shoot him in the chest with a gun.
It happens in the first major thing when there's a team of them, and it's great.
I think that's one of the endearing things about the current like Dragon Ball Z stuff that they're doing now is that like the heroes have gotten so powerful that it's just like there's just no threat to them now.
Correct.
And so like when a threat shows up, they're just like, look, weren't you watching? Like there's like we've got like hundreds of episodes of us just like wrecking people way more powerful than you.
In one of the movies when they show Krillin as a cop.
Yeah,
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I love that too.
That's what would happen.
Right, eventually.
Like, no, guys, I can kill all of you.
Exactly.
You're just gonna go to jail and stop stealing stuff.
Stop stealing. Everybody, stop crime. Okay.
Yes. Great. But yeah, I really like this anime just because of the way they think around things, the character development that happens, the fact that it's a really ragtag team that comes together.
I like that.
And they grow together and they become friends and they become really a good team. They introduce more characters as you go through that show up again and again. Sort of, I guess, how you would, even like in Fast and Furious, how there are people that were there for a movie and were important for a movie.
Yeah.
And they show up again.
They call back later
on.
That's cool.
There are people that show up for an arc and that are there for an arc that come back later.
Nice.
To help out with some things. And that's really cool. I like that. I like that the author doesn't forget about his characters that he's created and that he's introduced. It's a really great anime. There are a lot of things in there that are familiar or similar to things that are happening in anime today, and so that's why I feel like it's a good thing to go back and watch.
Sure.
And watch all of. And it's great. It's not super long. It's not super long. It's like 120 some odd episodes. It's not that bad. There's a couple movies that I actually haven't seen that I would like.
120 episodes sounds like a lot, but with anime, it's like
with the big anime that's out right now, with freaking Fairy Tail and One Piece and Naruto. It's not.
That's nuts.
It comes to a close and it's good.
Nice. Very cool.
It comes to a close when he's like 16 too. Like he has the whole life ahead of him.
Yeah.
And like all of this is just done. But it's good. You learn a lot about him. He learns a lot about himself, I feel. And it's just great to watch. It's good fun. And it's something that you can enjoy, not just because they get really beefy and powerful, even though plenty of people do. But it's interesting to watch them think through these different situations that happen.
Sure.
But it's great. It's good. Watch it. Enjoy it. I think that'll do it for this episode.
Yeah.
We don't have any social medias or anything set up just yet, but we will.
And
eventually
I have a YouTube.
Oh yeah, you got a YouTube. Yeah.
I have a YouTube and a Twitch. There's nothing really on it right now. I'm gonna work on it, guys. I'm gonna get there. But I have a YouTube channel called Good Guy Dave, and I have a Twitch channel which I haven't posted anything on called Good Guy Dave TV. You can check me out on those things. Hopefully soon. I'm planning to start putting some stuff up there. So yeah, we'll see. We'll probably get some Twitter or whatever and emails such. You guys can reach out to us, tell us what you think, tell us what you don't like, berate us. I don't know. I want to feel the anger flow.
Do it. Yep. That's it. It's been good.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoy the show. If you do, keep listening and let us know what you think.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, bye.